Let me tell you something that might save you years of confusion and financial struggle. Most people believe their problem is that they don't earn enough money and need a higher paying job or a lucky break. So they go searching. They try a new side hustle. They join a new mastermind. They buy a new financial course. They switch from one opportunity to the next, hoping that somewhere out there is the perfect income stream that never dries up. But that is not the problem. The problem is not the income. The problem is the person. I know that is hard to hear, but it is the truth. And the sooner you accept it, the sooner everything changes. Here is what is really happening. You have income, it has potential. Maybe you earn enough to cover expenses plus a little extra. That means in a typical month, you should be able to save something and build momentum. On paper, that sounds good. That sounds like steady progress toward financial freedom. But then real money habits kick in and everything changes. When your bank account starts growing, lifestyle inflation kicks in. You upgrade your car to match your peers. You move to a nicer apartment because you deserve it. You start dining out more because cooking feels like a downgrade. That sounds reasonable, but now your saving rate is broken. When you get a raise or a bonus, excitement kicks in. You celebrate with purchases because you earned this moment. So now your windfalls disappear faster than planned, too. Then you miss a month of saving because something came up. Then you take on debt that was not in the plan because you felt you needed it now. Then you increase your spending after 2 good months because you feel like you have breathing room. Then you cut back drastically after an unexpected expense because you feel financially broken. What you end up with is an income that on paper should build wealth, but in your hands produces stress and stagnation. Not because the income failed, but because your execution was inconsistent. Inconsistent execution of good income will always produce disappointing financial results. That is the real problem, and solving it requires a completely different way of thinking. I want to introduce you to an idea that changed everything for me. Building wealth is not about predicting what the economy is going to do. The economy does not owe you anything. It does not care about your financial goals. It does not care about your student loans. It does not know you exist. What the economy does is generate a constant stream of opportunities. Some of those opportunities align with your skills and resources, some do not. And even when they do align, some will work out and some will not. That is the nature of probability. Think about this. A job application has maybe a 5% chance of leading to an offer. If you send out 10 applications, you might get 2 responses and 8 rejections, or you might get 0 responses and 10 rejections. Does that mean you are unemployable? No. It means you need a larger sample size before the probabilities reveal themselves. Building wealth is exactly the same. If your saving strategy is sound, that does not mean month 1 builds wealth, month 2 builds wealth, month 3 builds wealth. It means over 100 months, roughly 80 will be net positive if you stay disciplined. The individual months are random in their challenges, but the pattern over a large sample is predictable. This is the shift in thinking that separates financially struggling people from financially thriving people. A struggling person thinks month by month. Every single paycheck feels like the most important thing in the world. A good month feels like you've made it. A bad month feels like total failure. Each month carries enormous emotional weight. A thriving person thinks in years, not months. Year by year, decade by decade. They know that a single month tells them almost nothing, but 10 years tells them everything. So each month is simply one data point, one step in the journey, nothing more. When you truly internalize this, something remarkable happens. The panic goes away. The impulsive decisions go away because you are no longer attached to the outcome of any single paycheck. You are simply executing the next decision in your financial plan, knowing that discipline plays out over time. That is what it means to think in probabilities, and it's the most important mental shift you can make as someone building wealth. Now I want to talk about the strategy itself, and I want to be very clear about something. The strategy is not the secret. The execution is. But you do need a strategy. You need a defined, mechanical financial system, something with clear rules that you follow every single time without exception. Let me walk you through one simple example. the pay yourself first system. The idea is straightforward. Every time money hits your account, you immediately move a fixed percentage into savings or investment before you pay anything else. This shows discipline. You are in control. Then you live on what remains and adjust your lifestyle to fit that amount. That's your operating rule. You place your savings goal as the priority. Your spending flexibility comes second. Your target is at minimum 20% of gross income saved consistently. That's it. That's the system. Savings has a rule, budget has a rule, investing has a rule. Everything is defined before the paycheck arrives. Now, here is what most people do wrong. They start the system, but then they start making adjustments. They skip savings this month because an expense came up. They dip into savings because they're short on cash. They stop investing because the market looks scary. Every time you deviate from the plan, you are introducing emotion into the system. And the moment emotion enters, consistency leaves. The strategy only works if you follow it mechanically, every single time. Not when you feel like it, not when the month looks easy. Every time the paycheck arrives, you execute the plan. Every time temptation arises to deviate, you do not. This is what it means to have a mechanical financial edge. You are removing the need to predict. You're not asking, what is the economy going to do? You're asking, does this paycheck meet my savings rule? Yes or no? It's that simple. And over 100 paychecks, that simple yes or no decision executed consistently is what creates financial security. Now I want to talk about the one thing that will determine whether you are still financially stable in 5 years: expense management. Every single financial decision you make should protect a fixed percentage of your income. I recommend starting with keeping your total fixed expenses below 50% of your take-home pay. That's it. 50% maximum for rent, utilities, insurance, and debt payments. Not 70%, not 80%, 50. Why does this matter so much? Let me show you with numbers. If you keep fixed expenses at 50% and you lose your job, you have 50% of your income available to cut immediately from variable spending. You can survive for months on savings while you find new work. That's manageable. You need discipline, but it is very much possible. Now imagine your fixed expenses are 80% of income. You lose your job and suddenly you can't cover basic obligations. You are in immediate crisis mode. You are depleting any emergency fund within weeks. You are forced into bad decisions, desperate moves, high-interest debt. That is an almost impossible situation for most people to escape quickly. And yet, this is the exact situation that destroys financial lives every single day. Protecting your flexibility is not about being cheap. It's about staying alive financially long enough for opportunities to appear and compound. Now let's talk about savings rate versus income level. This is where most people misunderstand the mathematics of wealth building. You do not need to earn a fortune to build wealth. You just need to make sure that when you earn, you keep more than you spend consistently. Here's a simple example. Imagine you earn $50,000 a year. Most people would think that's barely enough to survive and certainly not enough to build wealth, but it depends entirely on your savings rate. If you save 20% of that income, that's $10,000 per year. Over 10 years, with modest investment growth, that's over $130,000 from a $50,000 salary. Now imagine someone earning $100,000 per year but saving nothing because their lifestyle absorbs everything. After 10 years, they have $0 in wealth, despite earning twice as much. This is why the savings rate rule is not optional. It's the foundation that makes everything work. It gives your future self room to breathe. It means even when you're earning modestly, you can still build real wealth if you control the gap between earning and spending. And when you combine a high savings rate with consistent execution of your mechanical system, you have the foundation of financial independence. It's not about luck, it's not about timing, it's about discipline repeated over time. I need to talk about setbacks now because this is where most people fall apart financially. In our culture, we're taught that financial mistakes are shameful, that debt is a moral failure, that struggling means you're doing something deeply wrong. And we bring this conditioning into our financial lives and it destroys us. Here's the truth. Setbacks are not moral failures.
Setbacks are the cost of living in an uncertain world. Think about a business owner. They launch a product, sometimes that product doesn't sell. They have to write off the investment and try again. Is that a failure? No, it's just the cost of operating the business. The business owner doesn't shut down because of one failed product. They learn what works and what doesn't, and they adjust their approach accordingly. Personal finance is the same thing. A setback is simply the cost of living through unexpected life events. It's not a sign that your system is broken. It's not a sign that you made a mistake. If you followed your principles, you did nothing wrong. The setback is just part of the journey. But here is what happens when people can't accept setbacks. They avoid them. And avoiding setbacks creates far bigger setbacks. You ignore a small debt because you're convinced it will go away. It does not. The small, manageable debt becomes a catastrophic one with